The next theory that your book reviews is that of civic Republican theory. Some scholars believe that private property ownership is necessary in order to create financial security for citizens. And the idea is that once these citizens are financially secure, they would then participate in democracy and do so by exercising their independent political judgment. So private property ownership is justified as being a necessary element in order to have a properly functioning democracy. The final major philosophical theory used by your textbook to justify private property ownership is based on George Hegel's Personhood Theory. Now, your textbook authors describe Hegel's theory of personhood as being centered around this idea that property is necessary for an individual's personal development. While this is true, other scholars suggest that Hegel did not believe that the sole purpose of property was the development of the individual. He thought of it instead as a growth, as a stage in the overall growth of social responsibility that a person develops over time. So the idea was that the freedom to choose that came with property ownership allowed a person to have the ability to make choices that were responsible for the wider social good. So I just say this to highlight, even here, we have emphasis on the responsibility to ensure a wider societal good. So just to recap, so far we have divided up property into three types. We looked at the difference between common property versus collective property versus private property. And we said that private property was what the U.S.'s property system was primarily focused on. We then reviewed theories that justified private property creation and maintenance. And these are theories that are still used by courts to justify some of their, or to guide some of their legal decisions. The first theory we looked at was that of first possession. Then we talked about the Lockean theory of labor. We discussed how utilitarianism can be used to justify private property ownership, or how theories of personhood can justify the need for private property. We also discussed how the civic Republican theory has been used to justify property laws in the United States that favor private property ownership. Now we're going to take a look at how these theories have been used by judges to justify property laws that are still currently in place.